Hi, I'm in front of the California State Expo in California's capital of Sacramento, California, and I'll be going on a ride along the American River Bike Trail, probably to the capital of California in Sacramento. And here's a look at the route. Starting at the Exposition Boulevard, I'll take the trail. This is the bike trail here, then this section down here is closed, so I have to go through the streets, and then I'll go along the bike path further underneath an overpass, which leads to the Capitol, then across the green bridges in this area, still along the Sacramento River, where you may see some boaters, and then Capitol Road out to see the Capitol and make a round trip all the way back. And to see where that is on the map in California, right here in the center is where I'm riding, and this is the state of California, and the ride is right there at the Capitol. So typically this is the entrance to the California State Fair, and there's a sign over there that said parking's $10, and nobody's here because there's no state fair going on right now. Just this parking lot with some solar panels covering the parking area. So today I'm on the Recumbent. This is the Bacchetta, I call it sometimes the Bacchetta CA 2.0. It's quite aero, pretty fast, and I like that for the flat areas. It's actually really nice. So I'm just kind of cruising along. It says like 70 watts doing 15 miles an hour. Not too bad. There's a little stadium over there. It says the Green Gate. This is still more of the parking lot. And over to the right, I have to go around all these barriers to the underpass of the freeway over there. It's actually pretty nice. This part of the end of the lot, it says caution, watch for bike riders, so they must be familiar that a lot of riders come through this overpass or the underpass here. So often there's construction vehicles here, but since the parking lot area is closed to cars, just bike riders, and we could go up to the detour to the left here to merge onto the trail. And this might be one of the biggest climbs of the whole ride because this ride's quite flat. I've been on the American River Bike Trail quite a few times before, and it's always been a positive, good experience. However, today it is 98 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's around 5 p.m. So quite warm considering it's the end of the summer, but often you may have some heat waves where it's well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit here. There are some parts of patchy shade here due to the sun. It's a little lower in the sky, and the trees are right by the trail. So I gotta figure out where we're going. There's like a detour, it says trail's closed, and this takes me out back to the street. So I'm following some of the detour signs and kind of taking through this. Seems like an industrial area, not too many cars. And then we got another little short punchy climb to get back up to the trail. So we used to be able to just come straight from this trail here, but it looks like there's the bike detour. Because it's flat and warm, it almost feels like the air is thinner, so you can go a little faster. So my cruising speed here, around 200 watts, is about 22 miles an hour. So pretty good, not too bad, and kind of nice to zip along the trails here. Sometimes somewhere around here it's prone to flooding. So I was here maybe a year or two ago, but in February or March during the cooler months, and this was almost impassable because there's probably like 6 inches to a foot of water since it's right by the river. So on the west end over here, closer to West Sacramento, the west end of the American River Bike Trail, there's not much sighting of the river at all. I think you have to go quite a bit more east towards Folsom. And this trail's real nice. I did it when I was a kid, and each way I think it's 30 miles from Sacramento Old Town all the way to Folsom. So if you make a day out of it, you get a 60-mile bicycle ride. Pretty flat and very nice, and away from cars, off the streets, just on a path like this. So I've asked other people why they don't want to try recumbent, and some people said that they don't want to look at their feet while they're riding. And yeah, I know on video, like when you're pedaling, it can be a little bit of a distraction to see your feet in front of you, but I think after a while, I just get used to it. And on the warmer days like today, or other days where you have a high UV index, and your feet are in front of you, your shins are facing upward, and they're more prone to getting sunburn. So just keep that in mind if you're gonna go to a laid back position recumbent like this. In terms of comfort, I really like this a lot more than the upright road bike. I'm kind of leaned back, so my neck's at a neutral position, so I don't have straining my neck looking upward if I'm riding an aggressive road position. But then I kind of lean back. I think the seat is approximately 30 degrees angle, so it works out pretty good for my lower back. And my feet aren't too bad. Some people suffer from the feet that get numb because it's elevated and the feet aren't low enough. But for me, I'm fortunate enough that that doesn't happen to me, and my experiences have been positive regarding my feet and not being numb. If you just see a bunch of flat on the trail and not too many climbs, that's because that's how this trail is. It's primarily flat, and climbing on this bike is not ideal, but it still can be done with proper gearing. And the view from my perspective is actually real nice, kind of leaning back, because you can look up a little bit more and see kind of the skies and the treetops more so or more often than on the road bike. So here's a look at kind of the view from my eye perspective. I'll see my feet a little bit, but I'm looking up, and if I don't have this visor, you could be staring kind of at the sun as well, so that's not that great. But here's a park, and there are other parks with restrooms and water along the trail, kind of spread out. They're spread out a little too far for runners, but for cyclists, I guess if they have a restroom and water every 10 miles or so, that should be adequate for getting refill of water every hour or so. So I just passed underneath this freeway overpass or bridge, and that takes you over towards West Sacramento. However, there's another bridge specifically for cyclists and pedestrians, or a multi-purpose bridge, that I'm heading over to cross over the river to Old Town Sacramento and towards the state capitol. So I'm going to circle around here to the right, and there's the bridge up ahead. Okay, so this bridge is shared also with vehicles, but since there's that other bridge slash highway over to the left, this one's not as crowded. Crossing over the river here, have a look at the river. It's a real nice day, so people are probably just enjoying the water over there. And there's the other overpass to the left where most of the vehicles are using to cross over. It's a nice day to enjoy the water, so if you had some boat or something, it might be nice to get out along the river here. It's not a fast moving river at this point, but we'll ride along the river for a little bit before turning off and heading into the crowded rush hour streets. I'm not sure how busy it'll be in Sacramento during rush hour, but definitely, hopefully not as busy as Bay Area. So approaching Old Town Sacramento, and this looks like we're outside of the train museum. It's actually a real nice train museum here in Sacramento that I've been to years ago. There's a look at Old Town Sacramento, and probably not the ideal place to ride your bike. Got all these cobblestones, and it's super bumpy here. Years ago they even had some posts to tie up your horses, but I'm not sure if they removed all those posts. So I think Old Town Sacramento goes for a few blocks. Kind of like a place where a lot of tourists go to visit to see kind of Old Town Sacramento. There, Waterfront Park. This is not a historical part of Sacramento, especially with a big Ferris wheel here. But over to the left, more sightings of Old Town. At the edge of Old Town Sacramento is Capitol Mall Road, and I think this goes straight into the Capitol. So we have this bike lane here, and we've got the Capitol in front of us, and I'll go over there. And behind me in the distance is a drawbridge. I could show you that on the way back. So I'm not too familiar with downtown Sacramento here, so if there's a reason to come here, it's probably just to see the Capitol building in front of me. So behind me is the state of California's capital here at Sacramento. And there's just kind of a big square plaza area, and over to that building in the distance where the flag was, I think that was the finish line somewhere around there for our tour of California for quite a few years. So I remember coming here years ago for the tour of California, and the last stage sometimes was here, and they did like a criterium for the women, or the men did a big road race and then did a few laps circling around this capital area. And it was pretty fun. I think it was at least 10 years ago, 2015, 2016, 2014, sometime around then, when they had the Amgem Tour of California. They don't allow bike riding here, so make sure you just walk your bike around. So with the Capitol behind me, it's time to start heading back. We're only a few blocks from the Capitol, and there's already these tall buildings and that golden bridge in the distance. So here's a closer look at the bridge coming up upon it. So I'm not sure what the name of this bridge is, but just came over here. I won't be crossing it to go back. I have to head this direction over the water. Sometimes you can look over the bridge and there'll be some sea lions down there, but I guess they're not out today. Oh, another look from the other side of the Ferris wheel. Just gonna go start heading back to the Cal Expo. And this area by the train museum is probably the start, or the west side of the American River multi-purpose trail. Another look at the river off to my left. Kinda gotta enjoy the water views until I go a little further away from the water. I'm not sure what this whole area is. I've been here at least a few decades ago, and this wasn't here. Looks like something on the water. So the sign, even for the city of Sacramento, calls it the Sacramento River Bike Trail. Even though you could, I guess, take electric scooters, jog, strollers, dogs, etc. That's pretty cool. Look from the side of the Green Bridge. I don't know if it's called the Green Bridge. I just called it the Green Bridge because of the color. And that's where we went over, or I went over. So I got to take this bridge back, circle around down to the left, and then back to the bike trail. I guess I could call it a bike trail because that's what the city of Sacramento calls it, and the signage. So I did a cloverleaf turn all the way around, and just going to be going underneath that path right now. And this trail is actually super good for beginners. If you're in the Sacramento area, I highly recommend this trail. It's really nice. So I also thought about one day taking my velomobile over here, but there's not a lot of all-out flat long straightaways. So as you can see behind me, I came around a turn, and just ahead there's going to be another turn. So there's also a speed limit of, I think, 15 miles an hour. So I just don't go too fast, and often there could be families pushing strollers, dogs, other things that could step out in front of you. So just be mindful of that when you're riding here, and especially if you see other people. Well, the bathrooms here are locked, but fortunately there is water. I think today the sun sets around 7:30 p.m. and it's 6 o'clock right now. And as you can see, the sun's quite a bit lower, and you get a ride in the shade. And it feels nice in the shade doing 19 miles an hour with all the kind of wind blowing at you. And regarding the heat, 95 degrees on flat, easy pedaling is a lot less hot than even like 85 degrees, but climbing something like Mount Diablo with no winds. So it's actually quite nice here. Some parts like this are really well paved. It's real nice to be riding. It's so smooth trail. Wow, this was open earlier. Now you have to go between here to get back. Alright, made it back to Cal Expo. It was total about 16 to 17 mile round trip. Took roughly an hour and a half. It includes the stops and some of the signals waiting around, I think. So if you want to see more videos like this, let me know, or leave some questions or comments in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.